And with that, welcome to the Week 4 edition of the Tom Greene NFL Special. Cole, last week was definitely a better week for our picks.
Thank God.
And the NFL in general, even though they're still going through the crisis mode that is domestic violence and whatnot. Well, heck, I guess Roger Goodell could have said at his press conference that the Falcons were suspended for 6 games because of their annihilation of the Bucs.
Oh yeah, that was bad. Just remember during the team when I got home it was 35-0. I'm like, yep, there's college football on. Let's go to it.
I was lucky to get a free 7 points by Vincent Jackson when he scored a touchdown
at the end of the game.
At the end of the game, I was like, well, there goes my fantasy week. Hey, free 7 points. But I still lost 1-2 on the season. In fantasy.
My first loss this week.
Week 3, let's see here. I went 11-5, and Cole
12-4.
went 12-4. And I was hoping I would win the Dallas and St. Louis game, but obviously the Cowboys actually showed up, and so did their defense.
I don't know if the defense didn't show up. The offense showed up though.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a high scoring game in that one.
Like I thought. But anyway, let's get going on the picks here. Washington against the Giants, which Thursday night game, which might not be that impressive, just like last week.
Well, the Giants did show a little bit of life last week against the Houston Texans in a game where I didn't think the Giants were going to do that good against a very strong Houston defense, but Giants showed up in that game, and for the first time this season, it looks like they showed up, and Eli Manning had a great game, so did Victor Cruz as well. The defense as well played pretty good against a very strong Houston offense. So they picked up their first win of the year. And Washington in an old school shootout, I believe, with the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, that was a game. It was Kirk Cousins, a great game at the quarterback position. Kept it up with the Philadelphia Eagles and had a 10-point lead at one point. The Eagles came storming back and beat the Washington Redskins in that one. So Washington now down to 1-2 as well as the New York Giants at 1-2. This game, I believe, is an easy pick for me. I'm going to go with the Washington Redskins. They are at home in this one. Giants, I just believe that little surge last week, but I did not see it happening again here against this Washington team. This offense so far for Washington is looking very, very well. I can see it running over this New York Giants defense, so I have Washington winning this one 31-13.
I'm actually just writing down all my scores here, but our pick right there is exactly the same. Washington has obviously proved to be a little bit better team than we all thought, even though they did lose to the Eagles like we all thought.
I'm telling you, it's because of Kirk Cousins, though. I believe that is a key factor in this one.
RG3 is hurt, and most Washington fans at this point probably think that he should stay hurt.
Yeah, I don't see him starting when he comes back, to the truth. It's hard to see. Mm-hmm. I just can't see it.
Even though I've been hearing that the Redskins are saying it's still RG3's team.
Yeah,
BS.
No, it's not. It can't be.
But the Redskins do win this one 28-10. A little bit closer than last Thursday night. Well, heck, any score is a little bit closer than last Thursday night. 28-10 is your final in that one. And then we have a rivalry in the NFC North. The Bears against the Pack.
Packers obviously just got completely shut down as the Detroit Lions picking up a very big win against the Green Bay Packers.
Told you, Cole.
I was surprised with that. We'll get to that when we get to the Lions here. I'll get into that one. But the Packers just did not show up on offense, and they just could not do anything. Defense did pretty well, but just wasn't good enough to stop the Lions team. The Packers now to 1-2 on the season. On the other hand, Chicago looking very good this week as they picked up the win. As overall those guys show up again, and now Chicago now at 2-1 here. As now we have a battle in the NFC North and a very good battle between these two, and it's a hard decision in this game. Both teams very well, I believe. Green Bay just is in a slump right now, but they'll pick it up once the season keeps going on here. But I am going to go with the Packers in Chicago. I just believe they're going to play a little better. Chicago's still a little hurt. We see Brandon Marshall stumble around a little bit in that game. Mm-hmm. I believe that's going to be a big factor in that one. But I do see the Packers winning this one 24-17.
This one was a tough one only because it's an NFC North divisional rivalry, and we know here in Michigan that any NFC North divisional game is competitive. And nowadays it seems to be high scoring.
Well, now you have 3 good teams now that you North as well, so you never know what could happen.
Exactly. I'd also pick Green Bay to win this one because I think they're mad that they lost to Detroit, which in Cheesehead land is an ungodly sin to lose to the Detroit Lions. Let's face it.
And I believe that was the first time Aaron Rodgers ever lost to the Lions as a starting quarterback. So, and when he's completed a game, it is.
I believe so because
Thanksgiving
he was hurt and the Lions dominated him. But this is a statement win for Detroit, and I remember the announcer right before the 1 o'clock game saying, "Many fans are thinking same old Lions, but I don't think so." Thank you, whoever said that on Fox. I forget his name, but thank you. But anyway, this is Chicago Green Bay, not Detroit. Green Bay wins this one 31-24, even though the Bears defense has proved to be better than we think. Maybe back to the Bears defense. Not so much this week, because it's Aaron Rodgers. Houston, which as I tweeted before, you probably saw it. Here we go again, said Houston Texans fans. Against the Bills.
Yeah, this is actually the hardest pick I had all this week, and both 2 teams that just have question marks. I feel like still, Buffalo once again I believe having another kind of let off the week last week as they took out the loss last week, and just right now I still trying to figure out what Buffalo can do here with their real team or not. Still, we'll see as the season goes on. And Houston last week taking their first loss of the season to very interesting fashion. The defense, I thought, looked pretty dominated. Got pretty much ran over by the New York Giants offense.
Like I said, a lot of Houston Texans fans right now are saying, "Here we go again."
Not so fast here, Tom. Not so fast. I do think Houston Texans are going to win this one. I just see them being the better team than Buffalo, and with that great Houston defense, even though, yes, they are missing Clowney and the defensive line, J.J. Watt is still a big factor for this team. And I believe Houston's going to win this one. Plus, they are at home, I should mention as well. And Houston is going to beat the Buffalo Bills 17-14.
Ladies and gentlemen, Texans fans, you can breathe a sigh of relief because you will get your 3rd win of the season. Yay! There it is. Yay! We win! Like in the commercial, roll your boat gently down the loser stream. If you ever seen the State Farm commercial, you know what I mean.
Yep. That's good. I like that one.
Houston Texans will win this one, and will breathe a sigh of relief 31-20 as the Bills. They're still the Bills. And although Jim Kelly has had quite a great comeback, and keep praying for him, fans. I think they will need Jim Kelly to lead them on the sidelines for them to beat the Houston Texans. Yeah. Not looking good for them. The Colts against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, Titans team coming in this year, I thought would look pretty good, but last week, once again, I think they got shot out in that game, actually.
I think
they lost the Bengals 33-0, and once again, Jake Locker not having a good game. After looking at that last year, it looked like he had a great season last year going, and looked like being this year he's going to look pretty good, but now all of a sudden it looks like he's been just shut down. Their opposite defense pretty much just shut down. Then you have the Colts who smashed the Jacksonville Jaguars last week, which, again, was no surprise to any of us that the Jacksonville Jaguar defense has some issues he needs to figure out right now. And the Colts being at home in this one, I see them winning this. Andrew Luck on that offense after having a hot week last week. I believe they're going to continue on this week, once again playing one of the worst defenses in the league right now. And I believe the Colts are going to win this one. And for the first time this season, I'm going to give a team single digits, 31-7.
I've done it. If you know my picks, I usually do that once a week. Last time I did it 4 times, and I think neither of them got that many points, which the Seattle-Denver game was higher scoring than I thought it was. But anyway, the Colts are obviously playing another AFC South game, which, if you've watched the Colts for the past 20 years, except for the years where they didn't have a quarterback, AFC South was literally a scrimmage.
Yeah, you can say that.
And the Colts win this one 35-17. And it might be even lower scoring than that for the Titans' sake. The Steve Smith, or I will say before we get going on the next game, we'd like to send our condolences to the family of Rob Bironas, because last week, as Lions fans know, they tried him and Garrett Hartley and another kicker, I forget his name.
Oh, Alex
Henry, who they did end up signing, by the way. They tried those three out, and Bironas, who I thought they should have signed, was unfortunately killed in a car accident Saturday night. I looked up and onto my Twitter feed Sunday morning and I thought, what?
Yeah, no, I was shocked by that.
You probably saw me retweet it. I was like, what?
They said it was a single car crash, you know that, so I don't know if maybe something happened.
I heard he was speeding.
Is it speeding?
I heard he was speeding at night.
I don't know if he maybe had alcohol in his system or something like that. I don't know. Like, they're probably looking at the autopsy right now, but
that's...
Yeah, prayers to his friends and family for that one. You'll be missed.
36 years old, died a young man. Terrible. But anyway, we must rise up and keep picking. The Steve Smith reunion. Baltimore against Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina last week looking very weak in their first loss of the season as the Pittsburgh Steelers completely shocked everybody, I believe.
As you saw my meme, the Carolina Panthers entering Sunday's game. Carolina Panthers leaving Sunday's game.
Pretty much, that's how it sums it out as, man, Steelers just dominated that Carolina offense, and I believe we've seen a sign that Cam Newton was still hurting, which is a bad news. Not really bad news, is you have Derek Anderson, who played pretty good the first game of the year, and they said it's possible he might be starting this week as well, which will be interesting to see as the week goes on. So Carolina suffered their first loss of the season, where Baltimore once again got another win in a very, very close game against the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. And so far this year, even though they don't play this week, Cleveland Browns had the bye. Got to be pretty impressed with the way the Cleveland Browns have been playing this year.
Definitely,
every game, one of their games came down to the final play. So
yeah,
hey, Cleveland, you guys keep it up. I'm actually excited to see you guys playing good. Mm-hmm. But back to Baltimore, they did get the win last week in a late field goal, and this Baltimore team starting to look like they're starting to step a little bit now after taking a loss at the beginning of the season. And this one, Baltimore is at home, and I do believe that is why they're going to win this game. Two very good teams going at each other. As two teams that have a good chance of making the Super Bowl, I believe, this year as well. But I do see Baltimore winning this one in a very close game, though, 20-17, and don't be surprised if a field goal at the last seconds to win this game as well.
As Lions fans remember, Justin Tucker, 61-yard field goal to beat Detroit.
I was at that game. That blew my mind.
Heartbreaker.
I think I have the video still on my phone from that.
Might have to show it in our next segment. Who knows? Baltimore, Carolina, Steve Smith will be angry. And so the Ravens, that over this dispute still ongoing about the domestic violence scandal. Carolina looking weak, as I was saying when Cole was describing what was going on, you know. And the Carolina Panthers will be after Sunday's game as the Ravens win a little bit lower scoring, 17-14, because of course defenses prevail in that type of game.
73 of our games have been same spread. That's kind of interesting, I thought.
Mm-hmm. A little interesting on this first segment. Only 3 segments this time because there are only 13 games. But if you've watched this far, I applaud you. Segment 2, coming up next.